1-888-208-6946, the number on your screen to call should you have a question regarding personal injury for this young man here. Austin Kennedy of the Bryant Law Center in Paducah answering your questions regarding that personal injury talking. We heard from Kevin a little bit earlier. Now it's Austin's turn here in the hot seat. So we do have a question to lead us off from Bill, who says his daughter needs a lot of physical therapy, maybe additional surgeries after an accident. How can he get the insurance company to pay for future medical expenses for his daughter's injuries?
I'm assuming you're talking about a liability carrier, somebody who insured whoever was negligent or caused your daughter's injuries in an accident. If that's the case, most of the time what's going to happen is when you sign a release and you settle a case, that's going to be it. There's not going to be anything they pay after that. So what we typically do is we get experts or do doctor depositions and ask them about future medical treatment, the cost of that, whether it's you know, a hospital provider, what that would cost, the doctor's charges, anesthesia, physical therapy. There's, a bunch of things that can add up, especially if you have multiple surgeries. So we get the best information and documentation that we can to try to estimate what those future medicals would cost down the road. But most of the time, when you settle a case, they're not going to pay down the road after you sign a release and receive a portion of the settlement proceeds. Instead, it's going to be done, and that's whatever you got is what you got for whether you have one surgery or multiple down the road. Last thing is there is such thing as a structured settlement, which you do with you can do with minors or children. Usually, it's used for just to make sure they don't get their money and blow it right away. You can get paid over time, but again, it's not going to be based on some sort of contingent basis of whether you have surgery down the road. It's going to be just a structured settlement for payable every month or every other month or every year or every 5 years, whatever you want to do, but that way it kind of breaks it up over time.
We have a question from Frank who says he was driving a company car, was in a car wreck. Can he file a workers' comp claim since he was on company time?
Well, certainly. In Kentucky, if you're doing company work and in the course and scope of your employment, and basically by virtue of you being in a company car, that's probably going to be enough. You can pursue a work comp claim. It's just a claim against the employer's insurance. Every employer, for the most part, is required by law to have Kentucky workers' compensation insurance, and it's for that exact purpose. If you're injured as a result of being on the job, whether it was your fault or somebody else's, for the most part, it does not matter. It just keeps, what it does, it basically keeps employers from suing employees and keeps employees from suing employers. It's just a claim against insurance. So I would definitely say that you'd have a work comp claim in that fact scenario.
We have a little bit less than 2 minutes left. We still have time possibly to get your question in at 1-888-208-6946. Meanwhile, Barbara wants to know how much PIP insurance she needs and how she can use it after a car wreck.
Well, just standard in Kentucky, it's going to be $10,000. $10,000 can be used for accident-related medical bills or wage loss. The medical bills are typically paid dollar for dollar. So if a hospital or a physician or a radiologist bills $200, well, the PIP insurance is going to pay $200. It's unlike health insurance, which pays according to their own fee schedule. It can also cover wage loss. Wage loss works a little bit differently, though. You're capped at 85% of your average weekly wage, but no more than $200 per week. One thing you could do, though, is you could pay for additional PIP. It's really not that expensive. It could cover you up to another $10,000, another $20,000, $30,000, whatever you want to do. But it's something to look into for sure, and Kevin and I usually recommend clients definitely get that if they can afford it. It's fairly nominal on the extra charge for it, and it could definitely come in handy, especially with bills racking up like they do with from hospitals and everything else.
Got about 30 seconds left. Let's try to squeeze this question in from Otto, who does sales for a living, just totaled his car. Can he get the insurance company to pay for a rental?
If he totaled his own vehicle, you have to look into the policy. Most policies will say that you can get a rental for up to 30 days. What I always tell people is try to avoid that at all costs, because it's a hassle, and you don't want to go beyond that 30 days, because if you do, you're going to accrue quite a bit of debt doing that. So just try to do anything you can to avoid getting a rental. But yeah, most policies will allow you to cover up to 30 days.
Austin Kennedy of the Bryant Law Center has been our guest on this section of WPSD Local 6 Legal Line.